Hello.
Hi, Daryl. This is Dee Simon calling from Sick and Wrong. How are you?
Hey, D, how are you, my friend?
I'm doing pretty good. Thanks for talking with me this morning.
No problem.
So Daryl, I gotta say right off the bat, I'm fascinated by your life. I have not yet picked up your book, but planning to do that this week.
Okay.
You are a Grammy Award-winning musician, and you're an author of the book Klan-Destine Relationships: A Black Man's Odyssey in the Ku Klux Klan. And I gotta say, I can't think of two more disparate career paths. So
Well, one correction there. I've played on Grammy Award-winning albums and with groups. I don't have the actual Grammy myself. The artist got it.
okay, well that's pretty close, though. I gotta say. So how did that happen, Daryl? How'd you go from being a professional musician to interviewing and befriending the Imperial Wizard of the Ku Klux Klan?
Well, music's still my full-time occupation, and I do this as often as I can, with the Klan. But in 1983, I joined a country western band. Country music had made a big resurgence in this country. There had been a movie out called Urban Cowboy, and it had
with John Travolta.
Yeah, exactly. And Mechanical Bull and all the line dancing and stuff.
Yeah, I can't imagine too many black guys playing in country bands. Even now, I can't imagine too many black guys playing in country bands.
That's exactly. So I was a novelty, and people would come out, and see me, pay money to for it even. Anyway, I was the only black guy in the band, and this was a real country band, not some top 40 band that that switched over to
pop country. Yeah.
Yeah, this was the real deal, and it was half country, half bluegrass actually. And anyway, so we played in a lot of honky tonks and things like that, and we played in this one place up in Frederick, Maryland, and it was an all-white lounge. There was a truck stop there, so all these truckers would go there and stuff. And black people were not welcome in there, even though they were permitted to come in. They didn't, because they were not welcome. And here I was in this place, and on the break between sets, I was coming off the stage and going to go sit down at a table with some of the band guys, and this white gentleman came up to and approached me, and he was probably in his mid-40s, and he says to me, "I really enjoy your all's music." And I thanked him, shook his hand. And then he says, "I've seen this here band before, but I ain't never seen you before. Where'd you come from?" And I told him, I just joined the band, within the last month and a half, 2 months. And he says, "Man, I really like your piano playing. This is the first time I ever heard a black man play piano like Jerry Lee Lewis." And I was just kind of, taken aback. I had no idea what this guy was talking about. Has he never heard of Little Richard or Fats Domino?
Yeah, I mean, there's been so many black musicians. I mean, at that point.
Yeah, and
Ray
and
Charles.
So naively I said, "Well, where do you think Jerry Lee Lewis learned how to play?"
Exactly.
And he says, "Yeah, it just rolled off my tongue. I wasn't trying to be facetious, but I was just not naive." And he said, "Well, what are you talking about?" And I said, "Well, he learned from the same people I learned from, black blues and boogie-woogie piano players. That's where that rock and roll, rockabilly style came from." "Oh, no. Jerry Lee invented that." I said, "No, he didn't."
Yeah.
And I went on to tell the guy, I know Jerry Lee Lewis personally. He's a good friend of mine. He's told me himself where he learned how to play. Well, the guy didn't buy it, and he didn't believe that I knew Jerry Lee. He didn't believe that Jerry Lee learned anything from black people. I guess he probably believed that Elvis invented rock and roll and all that.
Yeah, I was about to say Elvis learned from the same source.
Of course, and Chuck Berry came later. But anyway, the guy, who was fascinated with me, and he wanted to buy me a drink. And I don't drink, but I went back to his table and had a cranberry juice with him and his buddy. And in the course of our conversation, he mentions that this was the first time, I was 25 years old in '83, and he was probably in his mid-late 40s, like I said. And he happens to mention, just off the cuff, that this was the first time he ever sat down and had a drink with a black man.
Wow.
And, again, I'm curious. Nothing is dawning on me, because, the guy is treating me like a king. So I'm not
being
thinking,
a very polite man.
Huh?
He's being very polite.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
amicable.
And very genuine. He's very friendly. He just didn't believe me about the Jerry Lee thing. But he's being very friendly. and very responsive to my piano playing. And so I said, well, why is that? And he didn't answer me. He just kind of like stared down at the tabletop. And I asked him again, and his buddy elbowed him and said, go on, tell him. And the guy looks back at me and says, I'm a member of the Ku Klux Klan.
Wow. What went through your face? Like, did your eyes just open up?
No, not at all. I started laughing.
You weren't shocked? You started laughing.
Because it was a genuine laugh, because I didn't believe the guy. Because, you got to understand, I have just about, and I'm not kidding you, I'm not exaggerating, I have just about every book published on the Ku Klux Klan. And in none of my books does it talk about how a Klansman will come up and embrace a black guy. I mean, literally put his arm around him and praise his piano playing and want to hang out and buy him a drink. It's more like, you'll want to put a rope around his neck kind of thing.
Yeah, or burning cross or something.
Right. So, this guy was not fitting that stereotype. Here he is, putting his arm around my shoulder and telling me how much he enjoys my piano playing, and sounds just like Jerry Lee Lewis to him, and blah, 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 and wants to buy me a drink and sit at his table. It's not the action of a Klansman.
It's very atypical for Klansman behavior.
Exactly.
Yeah.
At least, from what we know, through the media or through books or whatever. And so, I think, the first thing that occurs to me is, okay, this guy probably thought I was jerking him around about Jerry Lee Lewis, so he's going to jerk me around about the Klan. That's how I was justifying it in my head. And so I was genuinely laughing. And he went inside his pocket, pulled out his wallet, flipped through it, pulled out a card, and handed it to me. And it was his Klan membership card.
I didn't even know they had Klan cards.
Oh, yes.
Oh.
And I recognized the Klan insignia, which is a red circle with a white cross and a red blood drop in the center. And there was a night rider, this Klansman in his robe and hood on horseback on the card, and some other stuff. And I recognized it as being genuine. And, I stopped laughing at that point. This thing was for real.
Yeah, exactly. I would probably get up and leave. I think that's what most people would have done at that point.
Right. Well, I felt like I was in the Twilight Zone because nothing was making sense. How am I at this table with this bona fide Klansman? Something is just amiss here. Anyway, we talked about the Klan and some other things, but the guy gave me his phone number, and he asked me to call him anytime I was to return to this bar with this band, because he wanted to bring some of his buddies, his Klan buddies, of course, to see this black guy. And he probably didn't tell them I was a black guy. Probably called me by another name, play piano like Jerry Lee Lewis. And I said, okay, I'll call you. And we were on a rotation there like every 6 weeks, with other bands. We were there for a whole weekend, Friday and Saturday night. And I would call the guy like on a Wednesday or something, Wednesday or Thursday, and say, hey, man, we're going to be at the Silver Dollar Lounge. Come on out. And he'd show up. He'd bring some Klansmen and Klanswomen with him. And they would come and watch me play and get out there and dance to our music. They came in, regular clothes, not their robes.
Yeah, okay, they weren't wearing hoods.
Right. And but you knew who they were. He would introduce me. Some of them, would meet me. Others didn't want to meet me. They just kind of like hung in the back and watched, from afar. But I knew who they were just by their actions. And this went on until about the end of '83, at which time I quit that band. And I went back to playing rock and roll and blues and whatever else was going on in '84, disco, whatever.
But did you have like a connection with this man? Like, did you speak to him outside of playing music?
Okay. At that time, I only would see him and hang with him when I was going up there. Okay. For work purposes. It wasn't like I had a day off and decided to go to Frederick and hang out with the Klan.
Yeah.
Well, I do that now, but not back then. Anyway, so we had a friendship within the context of my job. I'd call him every 6 weeks, and he'd show up. So then, when I quit the band, I really had no reason to remain in contact with him. I mean, what am I going to do with this Klansman?
Yeah.
And then about 1991 or so, I was thinking about all these crazy experiences I'd had from the Cub Scouts and Matt Cole and many other ones, that I haven't talked about today. But I decided, you know what? this guy sat down and talked to me. Maybe some other Klan people around the country will sit down and talk to me. I want to interview Klan members and leaders up north, right here in Maryland, down south, Midwest, West Coast, etc. And I'm going to start here in Maryland where I live. I'm going to try to find that guy, call him up, and see if he won't hook me up with the Grand Dragon, the state leader of the Klan. I'll interview him and I'll write an article. So I started off with the intention of writing an article, maybe for like Reader's Digest or something like that. And I had to dig out this guy's number because I hadn't seen the guy since 83.
It's been almost 10 years, yeah.
Yeah, and about 8-9 years, and I found the number. I called it, and it had been disconnected. So it took me another 2 weeks to track him down. Turns out he had moved, and he didn't have a phone, but he had an address. I got the address, and I went by his apartment, unannounced. And I knocked on the door.
I gotta say, you have, as the Jews would say, chutzpah. I can't imagine too many people that would go up to a Klansman's like porch, especially being a black guy.
Well, I didn't know any better.
Yeah.
and people ask me all the time, Daryl, do you think if you hadn't done all that traveling and you'd grown up here that you would have done this? And I've had to think about it, and the answer is probably no. I would not have done it. I would like to think that I still have the same attitude, but if I had grown up here and experienced, the racism that people who experience, who live here their whole life, I probably would have stayed as far away from the Klan as possible.
Yeah, no, I mean,
But having grown up with so many different cultures and seen so many different things all over the world, I just view the Klan as just another culture.
Yeah, I think you're able to step back and look at it that way.
Exactly. So anyway, I knock on the dude's door, and it's about 7:30, in the evening, and he opens the door, and he goes, "Daryl, what are you doing here?" And he steps out into the hallway.
Was he wearing a hood?
Huh? No. He was wearing like an undershirt or something, and he looks up and down the hallway. I guess he's looking to see if I brought anybody with me. When he came out of his apartment, I stepped in. And so he turns around, he comes back in. He goes, "What's going on, man? Are you still playing? What's going on?" I said, yeah, I'm still playing. But listen, I need to talk to you about the Klan. He says, "The Klan?" I said, "Yeah." And he says, "Well, I left the Klan, a few months back." And he goes on to tell me this long dissertation as to why he left the Klan. And I said, "Well, where's all your Klan stuff?" And he says, "What do you mean my Klan stuff, my robe and hood?" I said, "Yeah." And he says, "Well, they came and got it." I said, "What do you mean they came and got it? Don't you own your robe and hood?" And he proceeds to tell me, which I later found out to be true from other Klan people, when you join the Klan, you pay X amount of dollars to purchase your regalia. And if you cannot afford it at that particular time, you can still take it, but every month or quarter or whatever, you put a little extra money in with your dues to pay off the robe and hood.
I was wondering about that, if they had like a store where you could buy that, the Klan outfit.
they have things like that. But there is no Klan Central. Some Klan groups, have their
Klan
wives
Mart?
make them.
Yeah. No Klan Mart?
Yeah, Klan Mart, yeah. So, anyway, he had not paid off his robe and hood in its entirety, and so they repoed it. And but he said, yeah, and so he said that when they came to get it, he couldn't find the mask that goes under the hood to cover the face. It's a removable mask. It snaps on around the perimeter of the.
So you have a mask on? You got a hood on top of the mask?
Okay, the hood is that pointy thing on your head, right?
Yeah.
Okay, and so right along your forehead area of the hood, there are like 3 little snaps and some Velcro, and you can snap on this mask that drops down and covers your face and has eye holes. So the mask is removable.
Okay, I didn't know that. All right,
yeah.
And then the hood's just the pointy thing. So it's not just a big pillowcase.
Right, exactly. Okay. It used to be back, way back in 1865, something like that. But no,
they modernized.
Come on, man, the Klan's evolved.
Yeah, got these hip new uniforms here.
Yeah. So anyway, he said that he could not find the mask when they came to get the regalia, and he had since found that he had to return it. And I asked him, to show it to me. So he went to his bedroom and returned and handed it to me. And I'm looking at it, and I said, "Listen, man, do you know Roger Kelly? He goes, yeah, I know Roger. Roger was my Grand Dragon. So now let me explain to you how the hierarchy of the Klan
I was about
works.
to ask you. You got Grand Dragons, you got Imperial Wizards. Do you have like I don't know,
Okay.
circus
Here's
elves?
how the hierarchy works. Today, there is no such thing as the Ku Klux Klan. There used to be, okay? But today, there are many Ku Klux Klans, plural. What has happened is, they have splintered off of the original, and then they splinter off of each other. So you have all these different Klan groups all over the country. And so they're not centralized. There is no one main group, and these are just going to be
So there's no
chapters of that.
national group. It's just individual organizations.
Exactly. Okay, and they all use the name Ku Klux Klan. Now, they all have the same bylaws, the same secret passwords, the same secret handshake. They use the same colors on their robe that designate their ranks and things like that.
Wait, what's their handshake all about? Is it like a high five? What is this?
No, you put three fingers. When you shake someone's hand, you extend your three fingers into their palm, and then you turn their wrist 3 times.
Oh, okay.
Okay, that means KKK, and they return that back to you.
Okay, I see what you're doing there. Oh, interesting.
Yeah. So, all Klan groups, regardless of which affiliation they are, they all use those same things. So, anyway, if you have a chapter of your particular Klan, for example, you might have the Dixie Knights of the Ku Klux Klan, the Los Angeles Knights of the Ku Klux Klan, the White Knights of the Ku Klux Klan, the Invincible Empire Knights, et cetera, et cetera. These are all autonomous Klan groups. And if you see them together in public, they will hold a united front. But behind closed doors, they are rivals with each other.
I mean, what are they competing against, though? I mean, don't they all have the same common goal of just, racial purification?
Yeah, they all have the same common goal, but you got to understand, when you hate others, you basically hate yourself. So each one is vying for being the real Klan group, the one that everybody is supposed to respect. And what has happened over the years is somebody gets into a position of leadership. And so the members, you can't really make money being a Klan leader. You get a small stipend of the dues, but you have to have a regular job. It's like Boy Scout leader. You don't make money being a Boy Scout leader. Yeah. You have a regular job. So what happens is this: you got some third grade educated guy who pumps gas at the gas station, and he's a vehement racist. He works his way up through the ranks. From rank and file all the way to Grand Dragon, all the way to Imperial Wizard or whatever, and so then he sees all this money coming in from dues, and he begins to pocket some. He was driving a 20-year-old beat up Chevrolet. Yeah. Now all of a sudden he's driving a Cadillac. So members get pissed, and they break away and form their own Klan group. So they splinter, or some members don't want to participate in violence. They believe in segregation. They don't want, black kids in school with their little white kids, but they don't want to go and bomb someone's church or burn their house down. So they're not into the violence, and this particular group might be too violent. So they'll leave that group and go form another Klan group that tries to institutionalize their racism by having their members run for
office or to do
county commissioner,
service.
sheriff, school board, etc. Things like that. Others go join one of those easygoing Klan groups, and there's not enough action for them. They want to get out and terrorize.
I mean, is the Klan still that active? Like, are they still burning crosses?
The Klan is more active now than it has been in 20 years. They are growing exponentially for several reasons. Mainly, the main 2 reasons are, A, we got a black president. The second reason is
they must not have been too happy about that.
No, they're not happy at all. I deal with a lot of neo-Nazis, too. And what I keep hearing from the neo-Nazis and the Klan is, I don't want my grandkids to be brown. All right? So, I'm 55 years old. When I was, in elementary school, let's say in Belmont or whatever, the population of blacks in this country was 12%. Hispanics were around 2%, Native Americans 1.9%. Whites were, 84, 86%. So the biggest nemesis for white supremacist like-minded people were black people, of course, at 12%. Today,
the largest
Native
race.
Americans are still 1.9. Black people are still 12% in this country. Hispanics are now 13% in this country. They have surpassed blacks, as being the greatest minority. And so the population of whites are coming down. And so the Klan-minded people, they see this. Wait a minute, hold on, 12% black, 13% Hispanic. That's 25% non-white right there. And they're seeing, their numbers come down and the numbers of non-whites go up. And they know within the next 30, 40 years, it's going to be half and half in this country, where for the for the last 400 years, it's been a white majority.
A white majority, yeah, exactly.
Okay, and then 60 years from now, whites are going to be a minority here. And they're not very happy with that. So,
I can imagine.
So they are recruiting like wildfire right now. And when the Klan says illegal, they try to attract people by attaching themselves to a legitimate issue. Whatever is a legitimate concern in the country. For example, illegal immigration. So they say, hey, come join us. We're against illegal immigration also. We don't want any non-Americans coming here illegally. If they go through the proper channels, et cetera, we can deal with that. But help us, keep illegals out. So they're trying to attach themselves as a legitimate reason to join, because they're also concerned about the same concerns everybody else is.
So they're not going out saying like, hey, let's all get together and throw a noose around a tree and lynch some black people. I think now they're trying to say, okay, we're a legitimate organization against an issue. That's,
But every now and then you get some of that stuff going on. Just like, you remember they dragged the guy behind the pickup truck in Texas a few years ago.
Was that was a Klan? Those guys were Klan members?
Klan, yes.
Okay, I didn't realize that. Now in Jasper, Texas, I remember that.
Exactly, yeah.
So,
James Byrd was his name.
Did you attend any rallies with these people?
Yes, I did. I attended plenty of rallies.
Well, what goes on at a KKK rally?
I attended one a couple months ago.
What goes on at a KKK rally, and how do they react to you?
Well, it depends. I mean, I hear all the vehement rhetoric and stuff. What goes on? They give speeches. They promise to uphold white womanhood and white virtues, and maintain white supremacy and separatism. And they burn this. They light this 20-foot, 30-foot cross that is wrapped in burlap, which has been soaked in what they call Klan cologne, which is actually diesel fuel or kerosene. So the flame stays lit for a long time, and then they parade around the cross with their torches.
Are they wearing their costumes?
Yeah, in their robes and hoods, and they're doing this for God, for race, for country, and for white womanhood.
So what are you doing all this time? Are you just kind of in the back, just like, well, I'm just going to chill over here? You guys go about it with your hoods.
Now, if the rally is held on public property, you can't stop the public from coming. Okay, so anybody can come, but usually you can't get too close to them because they have police protection. They have the right to freedom of assembly just like anybody else, and they have the right to freedom of speech. Even if we don't like what they're saying, they still have the right to say it. So, a lot of protesters will come with bricks and chains and baseball bats, and they're ready to attack. So in order to avoid any kind of riot, the police, put a perimeter around the meeting. So outsiders who are not Klan members can't come in unless the Klan invites them in to this perimeter. So like a reporter, or in my case, I'm working on a book, so I had permission from the leaders.
You have more access. It seems like the protesters are almost more intolerant than the Klan, or like equally intolerant.
In many cases, yes. Most of the peaceful protesters would not attend the rally. They go and have a rally of their own on the other side of town on the same day, and invite people to come and try to raise peace consciousness. Instead of going to the Klan rally, they advocate for ignoring the Klan. I don't advocate for ignoring the Klan. The Klan is still here because they've been ignored for so long. But if the rally is on private property, unless you're a Klan member, you must be invited. And of course, I get invited every now and then. There are other times when they would not allow me in.
So
but,
have you been scared? I mean, you're putting yourself in a dangerous situation potentially.
I've been in situations where I've had to fight people, and I've put somebody in the hospital, put somebody in jail, and things like that.
Were you attacked? Like what happened here?
One guy pulled a knife on me. One guy tried to punch me, and all that kind of stuff. And we had to get into it. Fortunately, I prevailed, but that hasn't happened very often. Fortunately. A lot of them, are cordial talking to me, and we can sit down and talk and things like that. But back to the hierarchy, when you have a chapter of your particular Klan group from your state in another state or in multiple states, you can then consider yourself to be a national Klan group, and so therefore you must have a national leader who oversees all the states in which you have your Klan,
different
your
chapters.
Klan group. Yeah, so like we call our national leader the president. They call theirs the imperial wizard. Anybody who is prefixed with the word imperial means he's a national officer. So like an imperial wizard is a president, an imperial caliph is like a vice president. And then within, and then you have the imperial secretary, the imperial this, that, and the other. Then within the state, you have to have a state leader. The state leader reports to the wizard. So we call our state leader, the governor. They call theirs the Grand Dragon. Anybody grand is on the state level. So a Grand Dragon, governor, a Grand Caliph would be like a lieutenant governor. Within the state, you have counties, and the county leader is known as the Great Titan. So anybody great is on the county level.
You got the Titan, the Dragons, and the Wizards.
Yeah, and then you have the local, district. We call those or they call them claverns. We call them districts. Like a district leader might be like a mayor, a councilman, an alderman. They call that person the exalted Cyclops.
Cyclops?
So, yeah. See, the Klan, they got all their...
They're in the mythology.
Well, no, not mythology, but the Scottish Rite, the Masons.
Oh, okay, so it's the Masons.
Yeah. Because, see, your original Klansmen from 1865, at the end of the Civil War, when the Klan was first formed, these all were of Irish and Scottish descent. And now that's not to say that all Masons are Klansmen, okay, because they're not. But they borrowed a lot of the secrecy and the Grand Poobah type names and all those mystical names, from the Masons and applied them to their own organizations. They just changed the names slightly. But that's where all that stuff comes from.
So their robes, like the robe or the hood of a Grand Dragon, will differ from the robe and a hood of that of an Imperial Wizard.
Only in color, okay? You have your choice of material. You can either get cotton or you can get satin. All right? For example, the grand level is green. All right? So a Grand Dragon will either wear a white cotton robe with a green cape, a green sash, and green stripes on his sleeves, indicating that he is the Grand Dragon, or he can wear a full green satin robe. There's no difference in rank. It's just a preference, personal preference for material. If you want satin or do you want cotton.
So how many robes do you own, Daryl? Because I've read that you befriend a lot of these Klan members, and then do you convince them to relinquish their robes and rescind their racist views?
No, I never set out to convert them. I just set out to have conversations with them and try to gather information on, how can you hate me when you don't even know me? Yeah. And over time, some of them end up quitting, and they're going to get rid of their stuff. I said, well, no, give it to me. I've got a dozen or so of those things, but I've been responsible for probably, anywhere from 20 to 25, 26 members quitting all over the country.
That's impressive.
As a result of some leaders quitting the Klan here in Maryland, well over 200 members have quit indirectly because of me, because their leader became a friend of mine, and when he quit, the Klan fell apart.
What's the highest ranking member you've ever spoken to or befriended?
Oh, several Imperial Wizards. Those are the highest. Because you have a bunch of Imperial Wizards. Each Klan group has an Imperial Wizard and a Grand Dragons for every state.
So what do you do with the robes? Do you burn them? Do you donate them to Goodwill?
No. I keep them because one day I'm going to open a museum. You know, I mean, the Ku Klux Klan is as American. I hate to use the cliche, is as American as baseball, apple pie, and Chevrolet.
Yeah,
and
I mean, they are.
It's a shameful part of our past, of our history.
It's a part of our history, though.
But it is part of our history. And, you know, we shouldn't burn our history. You know, it should be preserved so it won't be forgotten. And I intend to open a museum and display.
Have you ever actually tried a robe on just to see if it fits?
Of course.
What was that experience like?
I put the robe on and the hood and all the whole 9 yards. I went and looked myself in the mirror and I looked stupid, so I took it off.
So you didn't go take your kid trick or treating with that?
No, I thought about it. I did think about it, but or go to a Halloween party with it. But I figured I'd probably upset too many people. Yeah,
I can imagine. So you've interviewed, I guess, hundreds of Klans members. You've converted a lot of Klans members, and this, this research gave you research for your book, Clandestine Relationships: A Black Man's Odyssey and the Ku Klux Klan.
When I sat down and interviewed the first Klansman, he, like I said, I was intending to write an article and try to sell it to a magazine, but he gave me too much information for an article and not quite enough for a book. So that caused me to want to, expand and interview other leaders and members around the country until I had enough information for a book. So that's what I did. And then the book was published in 97, 98, and then it came out in paperback a few years ago.
It seems to be making the rounds on the internet.
This lady interviewed me, about a week or so ago, a week and a half ago, for the Las Vegas Guardian or something, and she published the story in the Guardian, and then I guess put it on Facebook or something, and then it just kind of like went viral.
Well, I'm going to encourage people to pick it up real quick. So you're still playing music professionally?
Absolutely.
What's the name of your band?
The Daryl Davis Band, Daryl.
And do you tour the country?
I do. I tour the country, and I also go overseas.
I know you played with some famous musicians in your time, Chuck Berry being one of them. Who else have you played with?
I played with Elvis Presley's Jordanaires, Percy Sledge, the Coasters, the Drifters, the legendary Blues Band, which was formerly the Muddy Waters Band. Oh, my goodness. A bunch of people.
Yeah, I saw a picture of you behind Bill Clinton.
Yeah, I played with him.
You played with Bill? What was that like?
Not the same way Monica did, but yeah.
What about Chuck Berry? What's he like?
I just played with Chuck Berry 2 weeks ago down in St. Louis. He's great. The man is phenomenal. I've been playing on and off with Chuck Berry for 31 years. He's 87 years old now.
Still playing too.
Still playing. He's slow. Not playing as fast and not doing the duck walk quite as low to the ground, but. But you know what? I mean, his legacy is intact, and he invented rock and roll. Nobody can play rock and roll.
No doubt about that. Yeah. Well, Daryl, next time you're in town on the West Coast, I'm definitely gonna have to check you out. Thank you for chatting with me here on the show. And people, you can go to Daryl's website at daryldavis.com, and you can purchase Clandestine Relationships: A Black Man's Odyssey and the Ku Klux Klan at Amazon.com.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
All right. You have a happy Thanksgiving, Daryl.
Same to you. Bye-bye.
All right. Take care.